The year is 1996. A group of teenagers went to Ozone, a popular disco at that time, to party and have a good time. An 18-year-old woman who had been there a few times before readily said yes when a friend invited her. She brought two of her cousins along. Together with another friend, the five of them drove out from her place in Santa Mesa, Manila to the tiny disco near the Scout Jamboree Memorial Rotonda where Timog and Marato intersect in Quezon City. The group got there early, but the place was already packed, especially for a Monday night. It was the end of the school year, and the bar was capitalizing on graduation season with a promo. On the night of March 18, 1996, Ozone Disco had an estimated 350 guests who wanted to celebrate the end of one chapter of their lives and start a new one. Nearly half of that crowd, 162 at least, however, had to end their story abruptly. This is the Ozone Disco tragedy. Shortly before midnight, something sparked in the ceiling just above the DJ's booth, which was near the kitchen and restrooms. Amid the festivities, revelers dismissed it as some sort of special effect. The dancing continued as the spark grew into a fire that crept toward the dance floor. People who saw the flames quickly exited, but many remained on the dance floor, oblivious to any impending danger. Chaos erupted and the situation quickly jumped from bad to worse. Electrical systems went out next, and what many people may not realize, many of the deaths during the tragedy happened because of the stampede. Security guards who were oblivious to the fire at the time thought a riot had ensued and closed the exit on the second floor. According to reports, those doors also opened inward, creating an inadvertent death trap for panicking people who were rushing to get out. SHERILYN BRUAN, the 18-year-old woman who went with her friends, said in an interview 20+ years after the tragedy that when the doors finally did open, it created a backdraft and knocked down the escapees. She said the impact was so strong, everyone in the hallway was hit and fell down. It was like a tidal wave of heat. On the floor and gasping for air, Bruan says she remembers hearing moans and whimpers in the dark, people hurt and crying. But all that was running through her head was the determination to make it outside. Miraculously, Bruan and all of her cousins and friends all made it out alive. With the help of a friend who was outside buying cigarettes when the fire happened, they made it to the De Los Santos Medical Center along E. Rodriguez Avenue. At the time, Quezon City Police Chief HERCULES CATALUNA said Ozone Disco's 162 death toll was the highest for any fire in the Philippines. The New York Times reported the death toll was among the highest in a nightclub fire in the world. To be more specific, it was the 7th worst fire incident in the world and the worst fire incident in the Philippines' National Capital Region. When rescue teams were recovering bodies, they found a narrow corridor leading to the dance floor was waist-deep with corpses of people who had tried to escape. They were so badly burned that the bodies stuck to each other. Other remains were crushed beneath a collapsed ceiling. For the survivors of the Ozone Disco tragedy, the nightmare did not stop there. Those who escaped like Bruan had to be treated for painful 2nd to 3rd-degree burns. According to her, she can still hear noises from that night. For months after the ozone fire, she admitted to avoiding enclosed spaces and huge crowds. She panicked when she heard sirens of ambulances and fire trucks. Her life stopped. Five years later, the survivors received some sort of closure when the owners of Ozone Disco were convicted of criminal charges of reckless imprudence resulting in multiple homicides and multiple serious injuries. The Regional Trial Court of Quezon City Branch 216 convicted President HERMILO OCAMPO and Treasurer RAMON of WESTWOOD Entertainment. The findings of the investigation revealed that the company had failed to install water sprinklers and provide fire exits inside the establishment. In addition, Ozone Disco only had one door, which opened inward. The company attributed that faulty design decision to feng shui. On the night of the Ozone Disco tragedy, there were 350 customers and 40 employees. It was revealed that the establishment was only allowed room for 35 people. The case later concluded that Ozone Disco owners colluded with some Quezon City officials. The conspirators were all sentenced from 6 to 10 years in jail, and Westwood Entertainment stockholders and directors were also liable to pay 150,000 pesos to each of the casualties' heirs and 100,000 pesos to each injured victim. This resolution was only carried out in 2014, 18 years after the Ozone disco burned to the ground.
18 years na yung mula nung nangyari siya. So, I think bukod sa akin, I think yung iba ring survivor, naka-move on na rin kami sa buhay namin. Pero it's good to know na meron pa rin justice system after 18 years, na meron pa rin bumabang verdict para na favorable sa amin.
BRUAN and others may have already found their acceptance and closure, but that unfortunate night 25 years ago is still etched in the memories of everyone and will forever be remembered as the worst fire in Philippine history. Thanks for watching One Picture, 1,000 Words. We have more videos that you might like. Click here if you want to watch more interesting facts, and click here to see our recent visit to Boracay.